question that I had for Mesomania was, why does Mesoamerica dominate LDS scholarship, education, and media? And, it's an interesting question, at least it was to me. And so I looked into it, and I have several, I'm going to go over 3 reasons, I think. First one, though, the basic bottom line is, the reason is because of Mesomania. Another way to put it is this. Why everyone think Cumorah in Mexico, right? It drives us nuts sometimes that everybody says this. Well, I just got back, we just got back from New York, like I said this morning, and there was a discovery in an archaeological find in New York recently. I actually came across this last July, and it was a big, kind of interesting temple complex. Maybe you're starting to recognize it. There it is. And only Mormons would build a Mayan temple in Western New York, right? Well, when I was at the pageant, I saw this little truck, and it said, whatmormonsdon'ttell.com. And they like to park out on the highway out there in front of the pageant, or in Palmyra in the town. And it was an interesting question. What do Mormons not tell? Because there is one thing that Mormons don't tell, and that is Cumorah is in New York. And it's really sad that we don't tell that, because that's the case. So I went on to give kind of a definition of my version of Mesomania. And it's a fascination, an excessive enthusiasm, and an obsession with Mesoamerica. Years ago, we went to Cancun on a vacation, been there a few times, and there's a general sense of fascination in the general population all around the world. There are a lot of European tourists that come there because Mesoamerica is just a fascinating place on many levels. But I'm talking specifically about Mormon Mesomania, and here's some examples I'm just going to put up of books that talk about Mesoamerica and connect it with the Book of Mormon and artwork and so forth. Now, one other aspect of this is when we talk about the different theories of Book of Mormon geography, there's areas in which we can agree and areas in which we can agree to disagree, which is common for any kind of discussion where you have multiple opinions. And one area that we all agree, I think, is, Ryan and others have spoken about this earlier, is that Lehi left Jerusalem. I think we all agree with that. They went down the Arabian coast. That's about as far as we agree, right? And so there's one other area that we agree, and that is that Mulek most likely left somewhere in the Mediterranean, probably Alexandria or something, and crossed the Atlantic Ocean. I think everybody pretty well agrees with that. Now, here's where some of the disagreement comes in, because we don't know where Lehi went. Those of us in the heartland Mormonized America environment think that he crossed the Atlantic by going around Africa. Other people think that they went east from Saudi Arabia and crossed the Pacific and landed in Central America somewhere, or maybe Baja, or maybe down in Panama, or maybe in Chile. So there's a lot of different ideas out there, and you all presumably know the reasons why we think what we do, but so I'm not going to get into those in detail. But the bottom line on all this is Oliver Cowdery and Joseph Smith spelled it out pretty well in Letter 7. Now, how many here have read Letter 7? Most of you. Some of you haven't? Well, let me tell you, my goal for 2016, because it's the year we're studying the Book of Mormon Gospel Doctrine class, I want every member of the church to read Letter 7 in 2016. And it's already September, so I'm running out of time. But a lot of people are reading it, and I'll get to that in a little while. But sometimes I have people come up to me and say, what's that letter? It's letter 2 something. And I said, no, it's letter 7. And so I decided to come up with a way so everybody could remember it. It's letter 007, okay? The only drawback is there's not a new James Bond movie coming out this year, so otherwise it would have been perfect. But maybe next year when there is one coming out, we can promote this. So I don't want anybody to forget what number the letter is. So what number is it? 7. Okay. Now letter 8's pretty good with some cool stuff we'll talk about tomorrow. But letter 7 is the one I want everybody to